Hey guys, so here's some quick thoughts on The Devil Crept In by Ania Ahlborn, a fast-paced, fairly high-stressed, small-town horror story that, well, it's a bit too long, it's very weird, a bit twisted, perfect for horror fans, but perhaps lacking in substance otherwise. Stevie Clark, our main character, is 10, a bit twitchy, an outcast, cowardly, but determined. His cousin, next-door neighbor, and best friend, the 12-year-old Jude, has just gone missing. His widowed mother, Stevie's Aunt Mandy, is devastated, of course, but most others, including Stevie's well-meaning mother and his absolutely awful stepfather, just do not seem to care enough about this, according to Stevie. There's a search party out there, but due to how most people see Jude, a snarky, snotty, bratty, mean-spirited preteen, Stevie feels their search efforts are far too lackluster because they somehow perceive Jude's disappearance to be his own fault. There's some possible merit in that, maybe, depending on the circumstances, but despite how Jude treats Stevie, poorly for the most part, Stevie still loves his cousin and misses him, and is, like I said, determined to find him alive and bring him home. Stevie believes he knows Jude better than anyone, and though we get a sense that Jude may not reciprocate Stevie's friendship in the exact way normal friends might, it's obvious they spent quite a bit of time together, something none of the adults seem to respect or understand. They write Stevie off completely, telling him to sit back and let the unbelievably incompetent search party handle things. But Stevie knows things, as kids usually do about other kids, that the adults in their lives don't, and wouldn't want to know. The two boys' adventures led them many times to the woods near town, where Stevie could swear that he's seen the shadow of a creature not of this world, and there's one possibility, one outcome that no one's considered. Maybe they don't want him to come back, because if he were to, the place he's gone to may have affected his disposition for the worst. It's up in the air what's happened, a mystery Stevie alone must solve, though it seems there's so much more at stake here than anyone first imagined. This is a bit of a mixed bag, though its intensity is high, it's slow to get into, and really doesn't focus itself until 100 pages through. Some of the ideas, a secondary perspective that I won't go too much into so you can experience it yourself, are decent, but much of the book seems like a rehash of other things. It's definitely got suspense and some horror that lovers of the genre would enjoy, but its characters are unwaveringly shallow for the most part. This is third person, but we really get into the mind of Stevie, our only well-developed character. I think the author actually does a great job at capturing his thoughts and feelings, especially the sense of fear he feels towards everything, as he rightly should. Everyone around him treats him terribly. His mother cares but never believes him and ultimately dismisses him every chance that she gets. And his stepfather is almost comically evil. And of course, all the other adult men are friends with this guy, his stepfather, so they treat Stevie weirdly too. It's like a series of unfortunate events level of exaggerated mistreatment. Even Jude himself, we learn of him only really through others, especially Stevie, is not especially likable or even understandable as a character. Stevie, though, is a well-written kid. Despite Ania Ahlborn's tendency to overwrite the actual things he thinks and says, his actions and his personality truly come through and come across as a 10-year-old's might in this situation. And Ania Ahlborn has written a competent horror novel, which is what you should really expect from this if you pick it up. If you enjoy the dark and gritty, or just small-town, dark woods, creepy house monster stories, this has got all of that. A big theme in this especially is mother-son relationships, which is interesting, and there's one that's quite prominent beginning about halfway through. And I really wish she had explored this further and really given us a reason to care about some of these secondary characters. But as it stands, it's difficult to care about even Jude because none of the other characters seem realistically human or even competent pawns to the story. I enjoyed the suspense, the not knowing, but some of the answers to those things were less than I hoped for. It's an entry to the horror genre that works to entertain, and it is entertaining, but lacks the push it needs to be anything more than that. And I do recommend this to people who enjoy these kinds of horror stories, especially if you like Stephen King, even if it lacks a sophistication or subtlety that arguably is in the other works like this, or makes the other books like this transcend their genre. It's important to note that I don't think it's trying to be anything other than what it is, so pick it up if you're looking for an entertaining monster story that, at the very least will last longer than any scary movie you might have watched otherwise. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say on this. If you're interested in this, definitely let me know, because I'm sure it'll still intrigue people. And if you've read anything else by this author, I have heard a few people mention some of her other books that are quite good. And I'm not sure about that, but maybe I'll read some more of her stuff at some point. I'm not opposed to reading more of her work in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I would love to hear any thoughts and comments you have. Feel free to leave any of those, and I will see you guys later with more.